We live in a digital age where social media has become integral to our daily lives. The Pew Research Center reports that over 50% of American adults use Instagram, 70% use Facebook, and over 80% use YouTube. Numbers have only grown higher with each passing year. New platforms constantly compete to become the next killer app. Blue Sky and TikTok have recently taken the world by storm, amassing millions of users and dominating headlines. But in the shadow of these giants, an older app has made a comeback. One riddled with bomb threats, shutdowns, and even a murder. Originally launched in November of 2013, YikYak, the anonymous Twitter, as it's been called, for college campuses, has seen a resurgence across the country, including at Northern Kentucky University. What caused its original downfall? What dangers does true social anonymity pose? What exactly is this app? Let's start with the basics. YikYak is a social media platform inspired by X, formerly known as Twitter, functioning as an anonymous discussion board for campus communities. Constrained only by a 200-character limit and light moderation, users post anonymously to their university's board, with handles being completely optional. Users engage through upvotes and downvotes called Yakarma. Posts reaching 5 downvotes are automatically deleted, as are some posts older than 100 days. If someone is mentioned by name, they can request to have the post removed. One of the app's major defining features is geofencing. YikYak uses location services and school email verification to restrict each board to its specific campus. However, reports suggest some users within close proximity to a school can sometimes access its board without verification. YikYak was created by Tyler Droll and Brooks Buffington, college students at Furman University in South Carolina. After working on smaller projects together, they created their magnum opus, a virtual bulletin board where anyone could share anything anonymously. To understand YikYak's original appeal, we spoke with Kevin Schultz, an adjunct professor and communications professional who graduated from NKU in 2015. As a former editor-in-chief of The Northerner, he experienced YikYak during its prime. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room, which is YikYak. What was YikYak like when you were at The Northerner?
So when I was at The Northerner, I think YikYak was just being released. I think it started back in 2013, if I remember correctly. It started out kind of slow, like you would hear about it here and there. People in your class might bring it up. And then I think really in like 2014, if I remember correctly, it became a much larger thing where it was kind of like everyone was talking about YikYak. People were sharing YikYak posts on other social media platforms too. And there was kind of a lot of conversations unfolding on YikYak that people would talk about like in the lunchroom or while they were in line at Starbucks. So you just heard about it more and more. I think at first it actually was more positive, and then over time, people kind of started to realize what they could get away with on the platform. And then it kind of quickly snowballed into a not so positive place, kind of like a toxic place where a lot of people were saying some pretty negative or salacious things.
Are there any benefits to the app, would you say?
I mean, I think just providing another layer of connectivity and interaction especially amongst like university communities, because I know the app is like geo-based, right? So you have to be in a certain area to interact with other people's comments. So I think allowing another space for people to engage in that way is hopeful. I do think like moderation and being able to address posts that are disrespectful or would go against kind of value guidelines is really important. So while I do think it has its own space and its own purpose, I think it's important to be intentional about making sure that things don't get out of control like they did in the past.
Yeah. Launched in November of 2013, YikYak spread rapidly from Furman to Georgia Tech and beyond. In April of 2014, the app secured $1.5 million in seed funding for investors, including Atlanta Ventures, Viezra Investments, and Azure Capital Partners. Just 2 months later, they raised an additional $10 million, followed by over $60 million from Sequoia Capital in that fall. In total, YikYak raised approximately $73.5 million, reaching a value of nearly $400 million by 2014. Then came the collapse. On April 28, 2017, YikYak announced its shutdown, ceasing operations on May 5th after losing most of its user base. In 2014, YikYak ranked higher than mobile giants like Facebook in the App Store ratings. Just 1 year later, the usage had dropped by 76%. The app never achieved profitability. Investors withdrew their support, the workforce was laid off, and the company was sold to Square for just $1 million, barely 0.25% of its peak valuation. Only after new seed funding in 2021 and an acquisition by SideChat in March of 2023 did YikYak return. So what went wrong? The answer lies in the app's core feature, anonymity. Without accountability, users could post threats without retribution. Dozens of bomb and shooting threats terrified campuses nationwide, forcing many to evacuate. A latest example being on October 21st, 2022, Lake Stevens High School was evacuated due to a YikYak bomb threat made against the school, another being UW-Eau Claire, which forced a similar threat in the fall of 2023. The earliest examples include Matthew Mullen, a 19-year-old Michigan State University student from Northbrook, Illinois, who was arrested on November of 2014 for posting a terrorist threat, alongside a Virginia Tech senior who was arrested after posting a chilling reference to the school's 2007 massacre, warning that another 416 moment is going to happen tomorrow. The list only grows from there. But the most tragic incident occurred at the University of Mary Washington in April of 2015, where Feminist United leader Grace Rebecca Mann was murdered by her roommate, Stephen Vanderbreel, who was later sentenced to life in prison plus 11 years. While Mann had endured months of harassment and cyberbullying on YikYak, with her feminist group documenting over 700 sexist and threatening posts, there was no direct evidence that linked the app to her death, and the exact motive of the murder remains unclear to this day. The incident nonetheless sparked a Title IX federal complaint to the Department of Education and widespread calls for action against the platform's role in enabling harassment and misinformation. Despite these issues, we wanted to hear directly from current students. Our team posted on YikYak, hoping to interview NKU students about their experiences with the app. I'm here on NKU's campus today, about to make our post on YikYak to pull in some anonymous sources. So I'm beginning off with, we are creating a video about YikYak and need sources. Reach out to interview@gmail.com if interested. Unfortunately, our post was likely perceived as spam and was quickly downvoted into oblivion, falling victim to the Yakarma system we were investigating. So where does this leave us? YikYak has undergone numerous changes since its launch. The removal of geofencing, addition of automated moderation systems, and even a brief 2016 experiment requiring mandatory handles. Now, back in the spotlight, one question looms. Is YikYak doomed to repeat history? Not everyone sees doom and gloom. Some students are taking advantage of the app in constructive ways. Senior Alex Pham has been adapting to the ever-changing social media climate, using YikYak to market his hosted functions.
YikYak kind of just got revived this semester. I'm not sure what exactly brought it back, but everyone started getting it again. I basically just post my flyers on the app, create like hype around it, and I try to like roll over the YikYak people into like my other socials, and I charge tickets, and that's basically what I turn into a profit. There's also a lot of good things that are spread. Like I remember during Double Hollow weekend, someone saying like, hey, make sure you don't drink and drive, and like it's cheaper to pay the Uber than to pay the DUI, and that was on the hot page and it was the most upvoted thing. So I think there's definitely avenues for good and bad for it, and it's just about monitoring that. I think it's another fad, and I'm just going to use it for what I can and when I can until it dies out, which it's died out before. I'm sure it'll get revived again when it does die out, but for the time being, it's hot.
Despite its flaws, YikYak offers something unique, an unfiltered window into campus life that no other platform can seem to replicate. Anonymity enables discussion of sensitive topics without the fear of societal consequences, but it opens the door to abuse when wielded maliciously. Only time will tell whether this generation can harness YikYak for good, transforming it into the virtual bulletin board it was meant to be.